Hey, Kurt.
Yes.
Why don't we take one nice and easy?
Not too easy. Let's take it nice and easy. It's gonna be so breezy the moment that we fall in love. Hey, baby, what's your hurry? Relax and don't you worry. We're gonna fall in love. We're on the road to romance, that's safe to say. So let's make all the stops along the way. Baby, the problem now, of course, is to simply hold our horses. To rush would be a crime, 'cause nice and easy does it every time. Here he comes, watch out. La do this, battle the battle, but la 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 yeah. We're on the road to romance, that's safe to say. So let's make all the stops along the way. The problem now, of course, is to simply hold our horses. To rush would be a crime, 'cause nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it every time.
Let's do that one more time.
Nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it every time. Yeah. Hello to all. I'm on the show. Everyone can see and hear me. How exciting.
And I'm back. Hello, Kurt.
Hi, Shelly.
I was swinging.
Hey, man, you made it so.
Well, right back at you. Somebody already likes your beard in the comments section. I like it too.
Oh, well, you know, beard stuff. You got to get it happening out here. You just got to make the most of it. Oh, you're toasting.
Here's to you, my friend.
I'm with you, Pop.
Here we go.
Ish kabibble.
So you're recently moved back to Chicago.
I have done, and I brought my family along, and it's been confusing. It's been trying. It's been infuriating. It's been rewarding. It's been, God, moving is just really hard, man.
It's always hard, but during a pandemic, it's got to be ridiculous.
During a pandemic is rough. We can't, we can't get a babysitter for our kids. We've got a 3-year-old now, and he's everything a 3-year-old is supposed to be.
Now, from what I've understood, you've actually you adopted this young guy.
Yes, thank heavens. He has come to save us. He has come to save us from boredom and oversleeping and book reading and effective work habits. We're very happy about it. He came to us as a foster child. We've been foster parents to several little people, and we just fell in love with him and he with us. And thankfully, the world operated the right way one time. And so I get to have a son in addition to my gorgeous daughter now.
How old's your daughter?
She Louisa is 14.
Wow.
She is 14, and the part of the reason we moved back to Chicago was because she auditioned for and was accepted in the Shy Arts program. So she gets to go to high school in a performing arts environment that's also very, very energized in the regular academic field. So whenever school can actually go, she'll have very long days indeed.
Well, that's great. You know, I know raising in a place like Chicago it has a lot of advantages.
We have a yard now, and we have a full house as opposed to, a very smallish New York pad, which we all loved, but, time marches on, and little man needs room, he needs acres, and large animals.
They're saying there's an echo. Did we fix it? Let us know. Did we fix the echo, folks? No, they're not hearing anything. You're hearing me.
Right here.
You're hearing me, Kurt, right?
I hear you fine, Dad.
Okay. All right. Well, let us know if there's still an echo. I can always put headphones on or something to try to get rid of that. Oh, I hear it. I'm going to put some headphones on. Entertain the people, Kurt.
All right. I'll look over at some of the people. I see a John and Susie Ernesto out there. Hello, darlings.
Yeah.
Always happy to see and hear from the two of you. And Trudy Downs out there. She's making the scene. Jennifer Cole says that she's the one who has the. It says John says it sounds fine now. Hi, Robbie Bell. It's much better. I like your little picture of yourself there with those red glasses, Robbie. That looks great.
Okay. Well, now, whatever might have been causing the echo on my end wouldn't be. So we're good to go.
It's probably the empty head that you're talking to over here, mine.
Can't be. So,
how's Miami going?
Miami's going. We opened the University of Miami with students on campus, and we've been through almost the entire first week now, and we're good. So if that continues, maybe we could be a model. So that would be nice.
It would be nice for people to be able to act in a normal and congenial fashion.
Yeah, that would be nice for our planet and our country.
I'll say.
Congenial is a great idea. And that's what music's about. It's about bringing people together, common ground.
It is. Music as a patriotic act for the human race, not just for a national patriotism, but for the whole human race, bringing everybody into the same sphere, man, of good feeling.
Yeah, I think music offers hope. I always say that, when people are listening to a piece of music and feeling some version of the same thing, all of them, doesn't matter what their religion or politics or ethnicity or anything else is, it draws them all together.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
It sure works for me.
Yeah. Now, perhaps you could talk about your most recent recording, which was a duo with the great pianist Danilo Perez.
Sure. It's a recording called Secrets Are the Best Stories. And I'm sad to say that it
dropped just almost exactly when the world closed down, and so we've sold all of about 20 copies. They pressed it on beautiful vinyl, and they still have. I signed 100 or 150 numbered copies, and Danilo and I worked super hard on it, and we also have let's see, a bunch of cats. Jonathan Blake plays drums on it, and Miguel Zenon plays alto saxophone on it, and they just play their hearts out, man. It's a lot of original new material, and it's kind of searching stuff. It's not a romantic record. It's not a feel good record. I'm out here trying to write stuff that is, I guess, in response to the time. I definitely want you to feel better having heard it. But it's got some heavy stuff. We have a thing on there that is dedicated to and inspired by Toni Morrison, that is based upon an abolitionist poem from the 1840s or 1850s, and it follows a runaway slave and his family as he tries to cross the Ohio River and fails. We've got so that's a piece that's on there. There's also a Jaco Pastorius thing that is just for joy, that I wrote a lyric for.
Wow.
But and there's a Wayne Shorter piece that has a very strange lyrical ending that surprised me so much. I mean, I honestly didn't know the lyric was going to end up where it ended up, but then it was there, and that's what it needed to be. So, but Danilo plays beautifully on it, and once more, I was challenging myself to sing, more difficult material, and to try to learn a really challenging amount of stuff to exceed the abilities that I walked in the door with. And, sometimes that means that you're not quite gonna make it, or that you're gonna feel, pretty uncomfortable out there. There's one piece that Danilo wrote that has a bespoke clave in 13. And it's real natural feeling for him, and the percussionist had it right, but darned if I didn't just have to count my way through the whole thing. And it's loose and it's cool, but oh man, I kept saying, Danilo, I'm not getting this. And he said, no, you're getting this, man. You're going to get this. You got it already, man. You got it. I love you.
Yeah, I don't bespoke in 13.
4-4 for me, Pop. Let's just take it easy on each other.
I hear you. Well, maybe it dropped it. I hear that echo again. I don't know where that's coming from. Maybe it dropped at a funny time, but now because of this conversation, it's going to double in sales from 20 to 40.
There you go.
And who knows?
I'll take any statistical advantage.
We have somebody tuning in from Japan.
Good morning. Good morning, Amy.
She's going to buy it as soon as she finishes this broadcast.
There you go. There you
and
go.
By the way, you can ask questions in this chat also. I'm looking at it.
Hey, Richard.
Hello, Richard. So, yeah, we see you guys and gals. And this isn't the only internet presence for Kurt Elling. You're doing your own thing.
I do. I have a mostly regular cocktail hour at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Sponsored. I have a sponsor, and so that means that they send me box after box of very, very lovely vodka and gin and a very, very beautiful rye. Tom, you can buy the album any place that you usually would. It's on Edition Records, Edition, and you can get it through my website too. Thank you for asking.
And we'll say hi to John Prue.
Hey, John.
Artist, great to hear from you. Yeah,
he's a talented cat, man.
It's true. I don't like these piano players that also sing very well. It makes me feel nervous.
I don't like the singers that also play piano. It makes me nervous.
Now, speaking of difficult things, a couple weeks ago, you asked me to do an accompaniment for you of a Kenny Dorham song.
Yes.
And that's got to be really hard to sing.
It's a piece called Fair Weather. I want to say Chet Baker recorded it toward the end of his career.
Yeah.
That's the one that I know best. And it's a composition that goes. It's got a little thoroughfare to make its way through. But if you've already done things with Mingus compositions, or some more extended forms from Joe Zawinul, or stuff like that, then it's one more thing to learn, and it's one more thing to get a hold of. But as with anything, if you practice enough, then maybe you might get a hold of it. That's the only answer to just about everything, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no shortcuts. You've paid a lot of dues, to have the ability to do that. And, I don't know if the people that are your fans understand the kind of dues that you've paid, to take, God's gift of a voice and grow it over time to the artistry and ability that you have. And I don't know if you want to speak about that.
Oh, I don't know, man. I think, I think maybe certain music fans, how would I say this? People fall in love with what appears to be the incredible ease that musicians appear to create with.
Right.
But I certainly think that the folks on the jazz cruise regularly, show a great amount of respect. I feel like they've got a real handle on not only the dues that we have paid to acquire the skill set, but also the road dues, I don't want to say thanklessness of it, but the fact that we walk. I mean, like, I walked in the door knowing I was never going to be as famous as, name your singer number 1 through 20. But that's okay, because I can, because I sing the music that I want to sing, and I get to work with cats like you and the other beautiful musicians that come on the ship. And I've had some thrills. It's a funny thing, right at this point. I don't know if we talked about this afternoon when we did the sound check, or yesterday afternoon, but I mean, it was 25 years ago this year that I got signed to Blue Note, and so the first record came out, yada yada. But 26 years ago, I was living in one room in a basement in Chicago. I was working on the back of a moving truck to pay the rent. I had a $500 car that didn't run. And I was using this very specific, very handy, very small, portable sound system on gigs, because I would go to restaurants where they didn't even have a sound system. I made the investment. I wanted to keep on working as much as I could. And I wanted to get to the top, and get to New York. And so I made it all the way to the 9th floor on the Upper West Side, which is where our apartment was. And 25 years in, my office, which is still, you can see boxes back here still to be unpacked. I'm in a basement room with all of my gear. We've been moving not only this house, but 2 storage spaces, because we thought we were only going to be in New York for a year, and we were there for 12 years. So we had stuff in 2 storage spaces. So the apartment, 2 storage spaces, another space that we had. Jennifer's mom is downsizing her apartment. So what have I been doing this summer? I've been moving back into a basement. I've been working every day, loading and unloading boxes, and working with packing tape and hoisting. And it's 25 years in. I wonder what signal this is supposed to send me about the relative success of my career. Full circle for Shirley, but really, I was hoping it would have been a little higher
Well,
by the time upward spiral, as we say.
at least it's the number one male jazz singer in the world moving into that.
Well, the press has been very kind, as are you. I'm just trying to sing stuff, that's worth listening to, man.
I don't know anybody like you. I'm echoing again, but we'll persevere. Speaking of the Jazz Cruise, it's tons of fun.
I love it. And I love that I can bring my family, and that the guests, the other guests on the ship are always so sweet and kind, and so respectful. I can just go to breakfast or whatever, and it's not a big. And people, you always make friends. As everybody knows, I think it's one of the more pleasant things. And I've wanted to bring my family at least one, if not last two times, and we were not able to because our adoption had not gone through.
Right.
And we couldn't get a passport for our little boy, et cetera, et cetera. So now that he's really ours and is everything, so whenever it comes around again, you're all going to meet him. He's going to end up running the ship by the time the week is over.
What I love about the Jazz Cruise is that everybody's on top of their game. I'm echoing again. Sorry.
Not to me, you're not.
Okay. Everybody's on top of their game because, number one, we all go check the other musicians out. So that every time you perform, the world's greatest players are in there. But also the fans are very knowledgeable. So,
yeah, they are.
Yeah. So, it's my favorite thing, as a jazz artist every year, is to be there with all of the great friends who play and all the fans who really know the music and love it. So, and this year, even though we're not going to be on the high seas, we're going to be high rolling.
Apparently.
We'll be in Las Vegas at the Wynn Encore.
Out in the desert.
Out in the desert, but we'll be cool inside. And COVID approved, and we'll be doing the Jazz Cruise on land with, again, the greatest players. I mean, Kurt Elling, you're going to do some amazing things in Las Vegas, and we can't wait.
Look at that. There's a poster and everything. Look, there's John Pizzarelli.
Look
there's
at
Clint
that.
Holmes.
Clint
Look at
Holmes, Veronica Swift, Mickey Berg, Wycliffe Gordon, Ken Poplawski, Lewis. It's amazing. Cyril M.A. And, of course, Joey D. and Christian McBride and John. It's on and on. And that's not everybody. That's all they could fit in. That's all we could fit into that phone booth.
Well, from the egos alone, it's you can only fit so many in there, man.
And I get to make the program. So I have you and Joey D doing a show together, which I think will be a lot of fun. You've got an idea that you emailed me the other day that we got to do. So
if it helps the world, I'm happy to do it. I'm excited that we will be able to get together. I hope, I trust everybody will stay safe and we'll figure it out. Maybe by the time it rolls around, the world will be a little bit more sane overall.
That's for sure. There's a beautiful soul in this country, and we need to lead the way back to that.
Yeah, we surely do. Find some sense and sensibility.
There's a question. It says, Kurt, what's your favorite type of venue to gig besides the Jazz Cruise? What do what's your favorite kind of venue? I know the answer for me, but they asked you because you're the guest.
Well, I mean, I prefer the jazz venues to be a little bit on the small and more intimate side. I really like it when people can have a little taste of their favorite and then, relax and maybe talk back a little bit to the stage if they want to, or hoot and holler if they want to, or, the theater stuff is good and it's beautiful and it's super rewarding. And obviously, big giant audiences, are a different kind of a thrill. But the intimacy of a real jazz room is something that I value very, very greatly. And I think a lot of the fans who are here tonight probably do as well. You know, the intimate contact, you can really feel the vibration of everything that's happening in such a direct way. And if I could, I want to put a little plug in for people to, after this interview is over, go over to saveourstages.com.
Mm-hmm.
There's an act before Congress right now that is a bill on the table to fund independent music venues throughout America, so that we have places like, people are listing stuff, the Green Mill and the Deerhead Inn. I think of Blue Llama in Ann Arbor. I think of the Dakota Bar in Minneapolis. I think of Jazz at the Bistro in St. Louis, Kuumbwa out in Santa Cruz. All the places where we, those are my mainstay spots. In addition to the performing arts centers and such like. And people got to realize that the economy is hitting all these independent venues. If they don't get some help, it's going to be only, what's that, Radio Free Europe? What's the giant conglomerate is going to just have its way with everything. So saveourstages.com, if I could, everybody. Or maybe it's .org. I can't remember, but it's Save Our Stages. It's a good bill.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kurt. So important. Maybe we should, speaking of music, by the way, the first time I ever heard you was way back when at the Green Mill.
Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
You were just passing through town, or what were you doing?
No, I think that's when I was just passing through town, yeah. Or maybe I was playing at a different venue and had a night off or whatever. Oh, cool. But that's when I first heard you, and that was the first wow.
The Green Mill is the spot, man. We are just so everybody knows, I will be, this is a secret, so you're getting a scoop. The weekend after this, the 28-29, I will be doing 2 live webcasts from the Green Mill with a live and safe band in front of people. All of 25 people.
That's okay.
25 people in a room that seats 125 or something, 140. So everybody, if you feel like it, we're getting the band back together, and we're gonna play a couple of nights of actual music at the Green Mill. So you can check in at my Facebook page if you want to. We'll have the announcement there. I haven't even announced it to the world. This is a scoop for everybody, baby.
That is awesome. That is fantastic. And I have to say that for most of my career, I've played in rooms that seated 140 with 25 people. So.
Yeah, right. We're all right at home.
Let's play our other selection that we prepared today.
Sure.
For the podcast, and then we'll get back to some more questions because there are some, and there were some that were asked in advance. But let's hear a beautiful ballad that I love to play with you.
Country dance was being held in a garden. I felt a bump and heard an "oh, beg your pardon." Then suddenly I saw polka dots and moonbeams all around a prognosed tree. The music started, and was I the perplexed one? I held my breath and said, might I have the next one? In my frightened arms, polka dots and moonbeams sparkled from a pug-nosed dream. There were questions in the eyes of other dancers as we drifted over the floor. There were questions, but my heart knew all the answers, and perhaps a few things more. And now, in a cottage filled with lilacs and laughter, I'll know the meaning of the words ever after. And I'll always see polka dots and moonbeams when I kiss my pug-nosed dream. That's Shelly Berg. There were questions in the eyes of other dancers as we drifted over the floor. There were questions, but my heart knew all the answers, and perhaps a few things more. And now, in a cottage filled with lilacs and laughter, I will know the meaning of the word, and I'll always see polka dots and moonbeams when I kiss my pug-nosed. How I love my pug-nosed when I kiss my pug-nosed dream.
Wow.
You're a joy to play with, Shelly Berg. You really are, man.
Well, that feeling is so mutual. I think the biggest thing on my bucket list right now is to do a duo CD with you. And one of these days.
Sign me up, Dad. Sign me up.
One of these days, you know, it's such, every day is a gift. Every chance to do this is a gift. And one of the questions we got said you did a short stint with John Hendricks, Kevin Mahogany, and Mark Murphy.
It's true.
And none of them are with us anymore.
Man, sad to say, that was one of the favorite things I ever got to do. It was a thing we put together called the Four Brothers.
Yeah.
And so naturally we did the vocalese for that famous lick. And you know, man, I couldn't figure out how I was going to get to spend enough quality time, especially with John and Mark. And so I wanted to put a thing together, and as soon as I figured out that we could do that tune and started making calls, and they all said yes, I got so excited. We did a premiere at the Park West in Chicago, which is it's a big venue. And then we got to take it over to Europe for about a little under a month in the summer of that year, and we got to play Monterey. That was the big hit that year for us. And I just have such lovely memories of how everybody was with each other, and of course I loved. I don't want to say taking care of in a way that means that he needed taking care of, but I loved trying to arrange things so that John and Mark were as happy and as fulfilled in the experiences they could be, because they were such treasures. And Kevin was, he's a funny cat. We had a lot of laughs on that gig.
He was a funny, wonderful, beautiful man.
Yeah.
And Jon Hendricks was a font for all of us.
Yeah.
And the question asked, if you could do it again, who would you do it with now? And maybe there'd be women that you'd do it with, or.
Well, we actually did an edition of it where we called it Three Brothers and a Mother. And it was John and Mark Murphy and Sheila Jordan. Wow. And man, we laughed and laughed. And so I have it on official, because we got to perform that at Millennium Park in Chicago. And so I have it on official Chicago stationery, Three Brothers and a Mother.
Well, Sheila, bless her soul, is going to be on the 2022 Jazz Cruise.
That's fabulous.
So we might have to hook something up for the two of you to do a little.
Promise me. She's a dream come true. And also, you've got to make sure that you do an interview section with her to get all the stories that she has about Charlie Parker.
Gotcha.
Because they were intimates, man. They were really solid friends, and he would crash on her couch in between sets, and they would go to not a county fair. What do like they would have in Manhattan on Broadway, they would have these where you could go and have a sideshow game kind of a thing at a carnival.
Yeah. And
she's got all these incredible stories of Berg. It's so worth listening to her, just to even without the singing, it's amazing.
She's a treasure. And we'll have both she and Dee Dee Bridgewater on the 2022 Jazz Cruise, both NEA Jazz Masters.
That's fabulous.
So that's pretty cool. I have to say that Michael Lazaroff, is behind the scenes, but what he's doing is, creating this amazing experience with the greatest musicians in our field for the most appreciative fans, and I'm very grateful for that.
I'll second that emotion. I mean, it's as even when we go on the summer tours and whatnot, I mean, maybe you'll bump into some of your friends who are also musicians, twice maybe at two different festivals. Then you're circling around, but it's always so short. And to have a full week with people you love and respect so much, and to be there, to be able to relax and be in the same hotel room every night. I mean, it's just a splendid thing. And then of course to have the great fans on there, it makes all the difference.
It does indeed. I'm searching for the various questions that we can get to while we still have time. And one was about, that was sent in before, was you recently toured with Branford Marsalis's quartet.
Yes, I did.
And how was that? Tell us about that.
It was strenuous. It was another of my life challenges to sing past the abilities with which I, walked in the door. Branford has been nothing but completely embracing and kind in the loveliest ways, and everybody in that band has my complete and utter gratitude and respect forever. They're such musical heroes, and the concept of that band is such a jazz concept. I mean, it's Branford's, following in Train's footsteps of having a working band who knows, every member knows the other inside and out, and they go into a room to conquer with the most extraordinary gifts that I've ever really had the pleasure to be on stage with at any one time. And for those guys to, sort of carry me along for a year or two, whatever it was. Mike, I'll tell you what, I came out of that gig. I could blow over any set of changes, and I was the healthiest singer I've ever been, because you got to be in top form with those cats.
It's great to be with people where you push each other.
Yeah.
It really is. It's exhilarating. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, somebody asked, how did you get into jazz? How did you get into singing? And when did you know that you really had that thing?
Well, sometimes these days I feel like I've been simmering in dummy sauce, because no matter how much I practice, except for these lovely duets I get to do with you, there are very few outlets, and it can kind of drive you a little crazy as a musician in your mind if you have all that stuff up there and you can't really get any of it out in the same way. But to the question, my father was a church musician, and I grew up doing the Bach motets. I sang soprano, and then we'd repeat them with the season, and then I would sing alto, and then I sang tenor, and I couldn't wait to get down to the basement where all the real foundation is. And we didn't really have swinging music around the house that much, except when we would go on cross-country trips. Then we would play what they used to call music of your life stations. And my father was a World War II vet, and so he would always play that stuff. And so that would be, Nat Cole and Vic Damone and Peggy Lee, a little bit of Sinatra here and there, Tony Bennett for sure. And so that was some exposure. And then I remember I was in maybe, I don't know, 7th grade or 6th grade or something, and they would let us watch the PBS channel, and it was the Thundering Herd was on from Lake Tahoe, and everybody in these beautiful, black dinner jackets, and then they had their special guest come out from the back, Tony Bennett in a white dinner jacket.
Oh yeah.
And I said, man, that's the one you want to be. Come out and sing in a white dinner jacket. All them other cats, God bless them, they're in the band, but the one you want to be is that guy. So that was the seed of it anyway.
That's great. There's always some inspiration. My father was a World War II vet, and he was a jazz trumpet player. He played with Charlie Parker.
How about that?
And so, yeah, we were listening to the same music in the car. My mother's name was Lorraine, so he would imitate Nat Cole and sing, "I Just Found Joy."
You dig? We got to cover that, Dad. We got to cover that.
Oh, God, that would mean everything to me. Okay, that's our next tune. That's our next tune. My parents are both smiling down.
Count me in. Okay,
I love that. Somebody asked, who are your hero singers?
Well, I mean, we talked about Mark and John Hendricks, Joe Williams, Sinatra. Obviously, I don't think you couldn't really sing this music if you didn't have respect for that sound. I mean, I wish I could approximate the stuff that Bobby McFerrin has been able to accomplish over his incredible career. The musicianship that he displays is really profound, I think. But different gifts in the kingdom. Thankfully, he's not also writing vocalese lyrics.
Somebody mentioned Johnny Hartman. I think the John Coltrane, Johnny Hartman CD is way up there on my list.
Yeah. I was fortunate that was the one that we won the Grammy for, was our Johnny Hartman, John Coltrane treatment. So, yeah, but also, who am I looking around here for? I got all my LPs, but I can't see any of the names, King Pleasure. I was definitely a King Pleasure fan from way back. Mel Torme, I respect the precision and the musicianship,
right?
But I think he was a little bit more. I don't know what the right word is to say. I respect it, but I don't feel it as much.
Mm-hmm.
I guess when I listen to it. That's just me. Hell of a singer, though.
Hell of a singer.
Eddie Jefferson, for sure. I see Lauren down there say Eddie Jefferson, for sure.
Yeah, and somebody asked, how many white dinner jackets do you now own?
Well, I have one. What I did was, my father, he was not only a church musician, he was also a high school band and choir teacher. And for the spring concert, he would always pull out this cream-colored shawl collar dinner jacket that he had gotten back in maybe 1965 or something, with very narrow lapels, shawl lapels. And I loved it. And I had it altered to fit my then much skinnier frame. But it was so beat up and old, and I wore it on so many jobbing dates for people's weddings that it got just toe up. So a friend of mine was going to Singapore, and he said, what can I do for it? And I said, can you take this jacket and have him make this? Have him make a new one of these. And, it cost about whatever, $100, and It was perfect. And so that's the one I have, is a recreation of my dad's circa 1965 white dinner jacket.
That's a great story. Somebody asked if you covered There I Go. I wonder if they mean Moody's Mood for Love.
Moody's Mood. I have not recorded it, but I can't think of a jazz singer who has not at least tried to master that.
Somebody asked about Giroux, one of my favorites.
Al Giroux, what a sweet guy. Sweet guy. I have private recordings from rehearsals when John and Al and I were together, and we were getting set for some jobs with the Metropole Orchestra. And these guys got into it in a beautiful way, reminiscing about the years when they were both in San Francisco.
Wow.
And I took my little phone out and I said, ding, and I just put it down and let it run.
The providence of things. I wrote the arrangement and played piano for the last track Al Giroux sang.
Wow.
It was an Arturo Sandoval duets record, and you've, of course, worked with Arturo as well. But he sang After All, his hit. And, I wrote this arrangement, and Al came in the studio, and it was very near the end.
Yeah.
And as the intro was playing and the mic was on, he pulled out a little piece of paper on which he'd written, "The pyramids, the Great Wall. I will be there after all." And then he sang. And that was his last vocal.
Wow.
So.
Wow, Shelly, that's a hell of a thing. What a great song to arrange, too.
Yeah, what a privilege for me.
I'll say. Bravo, sir.
So, anyway.
Al was the sweetest guy. He was the sweetest guy.
What a talent.
Huh.
And we have fans writing in who've seen you everywhere, and they've just loved it. Your poem in Neverland is great. Can you recall what inspired it?
In Neverland. Oh, yeah. This is it's crazy. Here, that's from the first record or the second record, maybe. And it's let's see. It was the song from the Peter Pan Disney film. Mm-hmm.
I Know a Place Where Dreams Are Born.
That one. and Lawrence, of course, did this incredible arrangement and put it into a spot. And then I had, of all people, it was Marcel Proust that inspired there's one of the cover pages for Remembrance of Things Past. And that's I don't know if it's a direct quote or if it's a paraphrase, but that was Proust. That's when I was still literary. Now I'm haphazard.
You've subsumed all that and made it your own. So I have to, before we close, I have to tell you not only my most profound Kurt Elling my most profound Kurt Elling memories are playing with you, but aside from that, my most profound Kurt Elling memory is also one of my most profound memories of my entire life.
I'm all ears.
Shortly after 9/11, when none of us knew what to do, I even had a gig the night after 9/11, and it was still supposed to happen, and I just said, "I get a sub. I can't do it. I can't play." But it must have been not very long, a few nights after 9/11. I was driving late at night and turned on, the jazz station or NPR or something, and you were doing a live broadcast from Lincoln Center or Kennedy Center or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you referenced 9/11, and you sang the song from Sweeney Todd, "Nothing's Going to Harm You, Not While I'm Around." And that was one of the most profound moments of my life. It was a cathartic, healing. I've never had the chance to thank you for that. But
wow,
what was it like to do that at that time? And it's a long time ago.
No, I remember it. I remember it vividly. Well, first of all, I mean, thank you for telling me that. I mean, sometimes you don't know if you've taken it too far, or if you did the thing wrong, or we had a record release for a record called "Flirting with Twilight."
Mm-hmm.
The Saturday after 9/11. And if it would have been the Friday, we would have called it off because that was the National Day of Prayer and everybody felt so awful. But it was the Saturday, and I just instinctively knew that people had to get out. They needed to turn a corner. I remember we opened with I think we had Lawrence do a solo Star Spangled Banner as only he can, reharmonizing stuff and putting all that sadness into it. And then I came out and I said, here we are, and together in spite of everything, and we are at the center of a circle whose circumference is everywhere, whose center is everywhere, and whose circumference is nowhere. We're at the very heart of the universe right now together. And there's no escaping from that heart. Nobody can push you out of the circle. And I came up, as I've mentioned, in a very pious household, and I said words to the effect of, what would a God of such tender, embracing love have to say at a time like this? And then we went into the tune. And of course, Lawrence had written a gorgeous, gorgeous arrangement for it. That just put it right in the space. And I by the time the one song was over, people had really shifted in their consciousness. I'm grateful whenever I can say something that's helpful. I try my best to do that on a given night. obviously it's not always as dramatic as that. It's a kind of an ongoing, grueling drama these days that I'm trying to address. But thank you for mentioning that, Shelly. I'm glad it helped. I'm glad it helped, and
it did, and it stays with me. So I want to thank you for being you. I want to thank you for being my friend, and for what your gift to the world. Our time has passed quickly, but everybody here can join us on the Jazz Cruise, and they can join us in Las Vegas in February, and then on the high seas again in 2022. Kurt Elling, thank you so much.
thank you, Shelly. You're my hero, buddy.
Feeling is mutual. See you soon.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.